8.
Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm Randy Rosenman, your host. In a moment, we'll hear from a good buddy over there. There he is. You're looking dapper tonight, I gotta say.
That's the first time ever. What, did you forget my name?
No, I know you're Tarek Fatal, but you look really dapper. I love the outfit.
Thank you.
We're going to have a great night, talk about all the high school football games from a week ago, certainly the crucial ones, and some of the big games coming up this week. We're also going to talk to North Hollywood's head football coach, Scott Faer. They're 3-0. They haven't allowed a point yet. He also has with him his outstanding running back, Omar Muhammed. Rockets. Every time we come here on a Thursday, Tarek, there's rockets going into the air from Vandenberg communication satellites.
I'll be honest with you. I was confused. I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. There's something on the screen that shouldn't be. Like, I'm trying to signal over here to the producer. Okay, good. You guys got it on lock. Yeah, last week we saw one go off, and I was very impressed by it. I thought it was really a spectacular sight. And there's another one that went off tonight, it sounds like.
Yeah, this one went off a little earlier, so it was still light, but it was still spectacular.
It is.
And it was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of different angles of what happened there, and that made waiting for the show before we took the air a lot more fun, let's put it that way. Also, we had an earthquake today, for goodness gracious. I didn't feel it this morning. I was walking.
Well, I felt it, and I tell you what, I'm old enough to, I remember the '94 earthquake in Northridge. I live in the San Fernando Valley, so I hope to the good Lord we never get anything that big again. So until we do, if at all, those little rollers don't really scare me.
You know who's all shook up? Bishop Gorman, because they had to play at Mater Dei in the big game in high school football, and it was all Mater Dei in Santa Ana, not even close. They ended up winning it by a healthy score. 31-15 was the final arithmetic there. And in a game that wasn't really that close, the Gales had their 27-game winning streak snapped. And more impressively, Mater Dei completely shut them down.
Yeah, got a lot of screen time right there. Yeah, Mater Dei 31-15. It wasn't close. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. A lot of pundits, analysts, and reporters out on the field after the game. And I'll be honest, the kind of general consensus was the game was kind of boring. It was 31-7 up until the final minute when Bishop Gorman scored. But Mater Dei's defense, as you see in this clip right here, that's Sean Scott getting in the backfield. That is the most impressive thing about this team that makes them so dominant is their defense.
And early on, we saw the touchdown from Jordan Davison, who's one of the premier running backs in all of Southern California. Next game we want to chat about is Orange Lutheran. They played another team from out of state. They hooked up with St. Francis Academy and won the game 15-13. Jay Nemhart, that young running back, the sophomore, who was called up from JV a couple weeks ago, he's been a difference maker.
You know, I've spoken with Coach Rod Sherman about him, and it's like it's hard to get Coach Sherman to actually compliment Jay Nemhart. I know that sounds weird, but against Sarah Gardena, I was at that game in week 0, and Steve Chavez, their starting senior running back, goes down. Jay Nemhart comes in, steps up, and then he does it in this really tight game against a national, nationally ranked, nationally renowned program from Maryland and St. Francis. So got to give the young man his kudos.
I got to give Tarek Fatal his kudos, because he selected this game in his SB Live. He picks a few games for the week, and he had Newbury Park to knock off Pacifica of Oxnard. Now, I don't know. Did you think they'd beat him 36-3?
No way. No way. Pacifica, their quarterback, Dominic Duran, has thrown 10 touchdowns in 2 games. So you're thinking, and Savion Taylor, their wide receiver, has been going nuts. So you're thinking, okay, they're going to find a way to score. I actually wrote in my preview, first one to 50 is going to win. It didn't. Neither team got there, but man, one team got a lot closer to 50 than the other. So good for Newbury Park. I believe they're still unbeaten.
Yeah, good for Brady Smigel, up to 107 career touchdown passes. And as the note said, he had 3 in the game against Pacifica of Oxnard. Next game we want to chat about is St. John Bosco. And I know you were there to see this one. Bosco, mighty impressive. I think this is a good Sierra Canyon team. but St. John Bosco got an incredible performance from Madden Williams.
Yeah, the Braves, Madden Williams, 10 catches, 252 yards. This was his final touchdown, and this throw actually came from their freshman quarterback, who stepped in for Matai Fuiava in the fourth quarter and really drove them down the field in a poised manner. So very impressive for the St. John Bosco Braves. They're 3-0. And last stat, I put out an article today. Jason Negro's talking about this young team that everyone's thinking is down because we don't know their names. He's like, the household names are coming, and it's showing now.
Well, Madden Williams now is a household
No question.
name. He's a household name. Next game on the board, it was, to me, the most intriguing game so far this year. It's Downey over Long Beach Milliken. We needed a calculator to keep up with this one. 69-68, and Oscar Rios, the quarterback at Downey, threw for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ran for 144 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he threw the game-winning touchdown pass. It was all Oscar Rios.
Yeah, I believe he's only a junior. He's committed to Purdue. So just another example of all the talent in the Southland. And you could say he's under the radar because there's so many. TJ Lateef out of Orange Lutheran, Brady Smigel. There's all these other quarterbacks we're talking about, and it's like, wait a minute. You know, Oscar Rios is quite the quarterback in his own right.
Yeah, people think he's the breakout star so far in high school football. Oscar Rios off to a terrific year, junior year at the prep level. North Hollywood, as we jump into the city in a game that was on TV, and we're going to talk to their head coach, Scott Faer, in a moment, and the star running back, Omar Muhammed. North Hollywood went to El Camino. They're looking for revenge because last year they had lost to the Royals 14-7, and they get revenge 14-0. Omar Muhammad was a story in this game.
That's the name I keep hearing about. Coach Faer's been making sure I know about this young man on Twitter, and that's great. I need more stuff like that, so excited to hear more about their great start.
Guys, that score, the Downey Milliken game was a tremendous game, but the North Hollywood game was really an impressive performance by the Huskies. They have not allowed a point this year. They've scored 101, and they haven't allowed a point. Now, the Huskies have not been a football factory.
No, they haven't. I know they've had some good years in the past, but I know they like to run the ball with Coach Faer, so curious to see how the rest of their year goes, curious to see what Coach says about their schedule and maybe some more tougher opponents down the road.
Here's our guest, Omar Muhammad, a delightful run, going the distance. That was the first touchdown of the ball game. Omar's a very good football player. Here's another look at it from a different angle. And again, he's had a very nice season already this year, close to 500 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground.
You know, when the other team knows what's coming and still can't stop you, that's always a good thing for Omar Muhammad. So hopefully he can keep it up. The Huskies, clearly a team to watch. Again, for me, it's about who do they have left on the slate, maybe a tougher opponent that'll get them ready for the playoffs because clearly they know what they're doing against lesser competition, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, Arlaskas, their quarterback, got that sneak for their second touchdown. They went at 14-0. And they had an interesting development at the end of the half. The placement specialists lined up for a field goal. The kick was blocked, returned by El Camino Real. In my mind, it should have been a touchdown. I heard they blew the whistle dead. Maybe that was the play, maybe it wasn't. Diego Ariza was the kicker. It was blocked by Shane Bogaz, picked up by Nick Fernandez. Nick travels the distance. He thinks he's got a touchdown, but it's stopped. It's called back. And apparently now we've heard from Scott Faer, and we're going to ask him, the North Hollywood coach.
That should have counted.
He was told it shouldn't count because you can't block it and advance it. So I don't know. You can see it was rejected and went straight the other way.
As long as the ball goes backwards, from what I understand, you're good. If that ball would have crossed the line of scrimmage basically over the lineman, then it's dead. So the fact that that ball gets hit and basically knocked backwards makes it a live ball. I think the officials got that one wrong.
Wow, the officials got that one wrong. But Scott Faer has gotten it all right this year for North Hollywood. Again, his Huskies are 3-0, and he's with Omar Muhammad. Scott, should it have been a touchdown? I know you benefited. You would have won the game anyway. Should that have been a touchdown?
We would have tackled him if they didn't blow the whistle, so it wouldn't have been a touchdown.
Okay, I love your honesty. Okay, let's talk about your 3-0 start. You're obviously an outstanding football team. What's been the secret sauce of this Husky team? Why are you so good?
You're looking at him on the other side. That's his nickname, is the secret sauce. He got named that last year.
I didn't even know that, Omar. I had no clue. I walked into that one. All right, Omar, you're a senior now. How much fun has it been so far this season to jump out to a 3-0 record? And are you guys thinking about the fact, and I know you play defense, that you have not allowed a point this year?
Yeah, we have been talking about it a decent amount. Obviously, it's a huge accomplishment. So we kind of want to keep that going. Not everything lasts forever, but if we do get scored on, it will never come to our mind. Obviously, just keep it pushing. And I forgot the first thing you said, but can you repeat it?
I probably forgot it too. I'm not getting any younger. You're the younger guy. Um, I just talked about how much fun has it been to start out 3-0 and have a team that's not been scored upon. Because I know you're playing on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, I think all of our guys are on the same page. Most of us are seniors, and we're all like best friends. So I think that that chemistry is really helping. So yeah, most of our guys play two ways, so we're really tight in every way.
Coach, your teams like to run the ball. I know that when it comes to teenagers, you got to like throw in a little like some trick plays. You got to make it exciting sometimes. But hey, winning is of course very exciting no matter how you're doing it. How do you keep things interesting for young guys out there when you're running the ball as much as you do?
I just preach to them that I feel that football should be played a certain way, and that's with physicality. So that's what we focused on in the off season with the heavy lifting, the hitting of the sled, and built our identity around running the football and playing good defense behind it. But I do believe that there's going to be a lot more balls in the air as the season goes on.
Now, Coach, I
So
know you
I
don't have
keep
a.
them interested.
Okay, I'm sure you do. Coach, you don't have a game this week. Is that because you have a bye, or nobody wants to play you because you're so good?
We have a much needed bye week. We need to heal up so we can be ready for the toughest opponent on our schedule this coming week.
Yeah, that's our leader. Your thoughts about that game? They're very good in the East Valley.
They're very good. They're very experienced up front. This game is going to be won or lost in the trenches.
Omar, talk about your game for the viewers. We saw some highlights, but do you probably watch some college, maybe some NFL? Do you want to give yourself a comp? What's your game like out there on the football field?
I think I like to see what's going on in front of me. And when I do see it, I go right to the hole. I usually look for the cutback. If it's not there, I'll just put my head down and keep going. Um, yeah, that's really it.
Omar, your future. I mean, after North Hollywood High School, is there a football future for you? What do you want to do?
Well, I do want to go into the medical field. If football helps me get there, I would love that so much. I do love football. I've been playing for a very long time, since I was 6.
Wow.
So yeah.
Coach, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. The playoff system. I'm going to give an example and then kind of give you a little forecast what generally happens. I've been around long enough, and then you're going to tell me what you think. A team like El Camino Real, they're struggling. They've yet to score a point. They're 0-3. They're going to play in the mighty West Valley League. Their strength of schedule number is going to be high. It's going to keep them in the mix for the postseason. They might go D2. They might even go D3 with one loss, maybe no wins. Or excuse me, one win, maybe no wins. And then they're down playing some competition that they could make a little run. What are your thoughts on a scenario like that?
First off, I can't stand this playoff system because it's all computer based, and the computer just doesn't really understand that a program like North Hollywood, where you got 7 or 8 guys going both ways, the fact that we could potentially win the league and I feel like be punished by going in the bottom of D1, I think is extremely unfair. So I'm hoping that the committee that meets after Cal Preps spits out the rankings can figure out that I don't think anyone in our league belongs in Division One. But a team like El Camino, you're right. They can sneak in with 1 or 2 wins and make a run. They're just going to keep getting better, and they had some good football players on that team.
So my question, my follow-up for that is, when you're beating teams like El Camino that have more numbers than you and stuff like that, and you're basically evaluated for the season that you put together this 2024 fall, you don't believe that you should still be in Division One, despite maybe having proven that you belong in that division?
It's hard for a program that you're just getting built and we haven't had a JV team since I started until this season, so I haven't had to look forward to bringing guys up, and we just haven't had the fortune of getting those giant kids on the line like other schools do. So I feel down the road, a couple of years from now, will be a good, strong Division I opponent. Just not quite there yet.
Well, wherever you land, Division II, Division III, last time I noticed, I didn't look this week, you were #1 in D3. With the win over El Camino, you might have been bumped up to Division II. But either way, I think you're going to make a run. And Scott, congratulations on a great start to the season. Omar, continued success. Keep putting up the big numbers. You're averaging over 150 yards a game. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's Scott Faer, head coach, Omar Muhammed. They've gotten off to a wonderful start.
Yeah, I love the candor. I love the candor. Didn't want to I didn't want to put coach on the spot, but I like to hear the way every coach.
He's
Southern
right
section,
about what he said.
Southern section, city section, whatever section. I like to hear coaches and what they have to say about, hey, the playoff system. Do you like it? Do you not like it? How would you like to see it? I think most coaches, at the end of the day, they want to be evaluated for what they put on the field that season. You don't want to be predetermined for a division. I think most coaches like that. Sounds like Scott maybe likes to be predetermined, but you want to be evaluated for the product you put on the field that year. But I think what he was saying is, after the computer rankings, maybe there's like a 5% little human touch that kind of goes, maybe these guys should be down here and these guys should be up there. And that I agree with.
I think he's just concerned if he wins the league, he's going to get pushed up into a division he shouldn't go into. And I
that's where the
understand
human.
that.
I think that's where he's thinking the human
Right.
element might be able to correct something like that at the very end.
All right, let's talk about some great performances, not just North Hollywood. These are individual performances from last week. We'll start with a quarterback from Western High School. His name is Noah Giddens, and he threw for a lot of yardage, 468. And there are the numbers, 6 touchdowns and a win over El Toro. Those are big numbers.
Big numbers. I mean, when you're throwing the ball around the yard like that, 6 touchdowns, almost 500 yards, that's going to be film he should stash away, and he'll show the grandkids one day.
And JJ had a great day because Noah was throwing it to him. 16 for 4 touchdowns against El Toro as well. Obviously, they combined and had a magnificent night. How about Julius Gillick at Edison? 302 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, Edison has a big game this week. They play Palos Verdes, and Palos Verdes likes to pass it. Edison clearly likes to run it. So we'll see. That game's at Edison. I actually think the Chargers are going to win that one.
Here's one I like. You got to, reward defenders. And KC with 2 picks, 2 touchdowns with those interceptions against La Mirada.
Yeah, got to love that you're listen, when you can feel it on both ends of the ball, right? Running backs see a hole a little bigger, the quarterback is just spinning it right. Well, sometimes defenders can really get in a rhythm on what the offense is running, and when you get 2 interceptions, clearly you're seeing something that no one else is.
Another big passing performance from Wyatt McCauley, the QB at Inglewood, 364 and 4 touchdowns, beating a good Carson team.
Yeah, always a good performance. Again, it wasn't quite 500 yards, but 364, that's a nice day.
Here's a hero for me, William Weisberg of Notre Dame. He kicks a 39-yard field goal in the waning moments, last 5 seconds of the game against a good St. Francis team. But how about Notre Dame Sherman Oaks? They always have kickers, and Weisberg's the latest.
That's right. I think their last 2 wins have come by up like 2 points combined, or maybe 3 points combined. So they're gutting out close games. However, I don't know if that'll be the case this coming week. They play Servite tomorrow.
Yeah, here's the game winner from 39 against St. Francis. Kid's got a big leg. But again, kickers, it's a kicker's school. They had great kickers for many, many years, starting with Nick Folk many years ago.
Correct. Nick Folk's the big name from Notre Dame as far as kicker. But yeah, to do this on the road, by the way, I might add,
Right.
is impressive. And then in high school, you don't see a lot of long-range kicks that are good in high-pressure situations. A lot of things could go wrong, right? Like the snap, the hold, so on and so forth. So for everything to go right, very, very good.
I believe I was at a Notre Dame Birmingham game many years ago, and Folk kicked 56-yarder.
Oof. Yeah, that's you just don't see that in high school. 40-yarders are hard to see.
Yeah, but 56 was even sweeter. All right, let's take a look at the top 10. We'll start in the L.A. City section. Birmingham is #1. These are Max Preps rankings, and I know you might have some disagreement with this. Birmingham 0-2. I don't think they should be #1.
Yeah.
I know they're playing Southern Section
right.
schools, but they shouldn't be one.
Like, Dorsey even being in the top 10, and probably haven't really quite earned it yet. I'm okay with some of these other teams. I actually like Granada Hills up there. They've played some tough schedule. Palisades is coming on. I'm telling you right now, Randy, Palisades has a big game with Brentwood this week, and Brentwood beat King Drew, which is a team that I believe should be on here as well. So if Palisades finds a way to beat Brentwood, boy, man, they might sneak up into the top 3 for me. Narbonne, to me, is the #1 team simply because they've been playing juggernauts, and they have most of the skilled players in the city, the best ones.
2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. 5 schools in a row.
Marine League.
Marine League.
Yeah.
That tells you who the best league
yeah,
is.
I would argue those guys should probably all be like the top 5, maybe Birmingham 5, and then another Marine League team like 6. But 5 of the top 6 teams in the city, Marine League teams, no question.
Yeah, there's no question about that at all. All right, let's take a look at Tarek's top 10 from the southern section. This is the flip side because you have the Trinity League with all the schools. Mater Dei from the Trinity League, Bosco, Sarah, Orange Lutheran, Santa Margarita. They're all, and that's it. I surveyed at 9.
At the bottom.
Surveyed at 9. So it's broken up a little by Mission Viejo, but the Trinity League's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I believe the Trinity League is, I think, 14-2, if my math serves me correctly, altogether, or something like that. So, and they're playing. Mater Dei beat up on Bishop Gorman. St. John Bosco traveled and beat Chaminade Madonna of Florida. St. John Bosco just came off a win against Sierra Canyon. I mean, the list goes on. Hey, Santa Margarita beat Corona Centennial, thumped them pretty good. So these aren't just, this isn't a record with like empty calories, so to speak. These are real victories. The Trinity League could be, from top to bottom, like pound for pound, the best it's ever been. And if not ever, at least in the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, they're 15-1 overall
There it
to
is.
start the season. All right, top alumni performance from this past weekend. I give it to Elijah Brown, former Mater Dei quarterback, 7 for 7 for Stanford, playing against Cal Poly. And he worked actually against Jake East, a defensive back who prepped at Agora.
Yeah.
But Elijah Brown was thrown against Jake East and Cal Poly. And that's good numbers. It was in a relief. He's just a young quarterback, and I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, we saw him in high school. I think one of the more winningest quarterbacks that's ever played at Mater Dei. Only lost like 2 times, maybe 3 at the most. You know, I think he kind of plateaued, if I'm being honest. He was really good his freshman year, sophomore year, and then his junior year, and then senior year. I mean, we saw him, Randy. We weren't all that impressed with him, but to get to college and show production and be efficient, very impressive. Good for you, Elijah.
Very nice performance there. Basketball news. If you know, Tarek loves hoops, so we have to have some basketball in here. And Brandon Martinson, who might have been Mater Dei's best player last year, and they had a lot of good ones, has left Mater Dei. He transfers within the Trinity League, and he goes to J. Sarah. Did that surprise you?
Yes, it was surprising. Yes, it was surprising because he is Mater Dei's best player since he's been a freshman. So as a freshman, they won the Division I championship, CIF Player of the Year. Then last year they get to the Open Division. He's an All CIF player. So this is a 2-time All CIF player. In his 2 years he played high school basketball. He's 6'7". He's a double type kid. He'll be a junior and has legitimate Power 4 conference offers. So really curious to see how he impacts J. Sarah, and I think he'll impact them in a good way.
Yeah, the Monarchs did add Marko they call him, Marko Kovac from Croatia. He's 6'10", so at least they got a player to replace him inside.
Sure. Well, I don't know much about the player. I'd like to see him play first, but generally when you get Europeans that play high school basketball out here and they're tall, the game might move a little quick for him, so we'll see how he gets acclimated.
Key games coming up tomorrow. We got some doozies. Olu is back in the hunt, 3-0 this year, having a great year. Now they step onto the big stage against Bishop Gorman. We mentioned it last week. Orange Lutheran has the toughest schedule in America. They get to go to Las Vegas to take on the Gales.
Gonna be a tough road trip for the Lancers. I think they're gonna fall short in this one. Bishop Gorman hadn't lost a game in 27 tries. They lose to Mater Dei. I just find it hard to believe they're gonna lose 2 in a row all of a sudden. The latter being at home to Orange Lutheran. Not to say Orange Lutheran can't do it. Would love to be made a liar, make a liar out of me for the home team here in Southern California, but I just don't see it happening.
Last year, Mater Dei crushed Kahuku in Santa Ana. This year, they get them in Hawaii. This is an intriguing game. Remember, Kahuku last year beat St. John Bosco at home. Now Mater Dei's got to go across the pond.
Yes, St. John Bosco went out there and lost, and Coach Jason Negro, he gave kudos to Kahuku because teams run away from Mater Dei and St. John Bosco, and he said, Kahuku wasn't afraid to play us, and look what happened. Big bad St. John Bosco went down there and took an L, and so kudos to Jason Negro for owning up to that. So now Mater Dei is going to go out there, and I just find it hard to believe that's going to happen. I don't think a Trinity League team is going to lose back-to-back years out in Hawaii. Highly unlikely. That defense is way too powerful. I think the Monarchs are going to win.
Mana Carvalho, though, we saw him last year for Kahuku, is a phenomenal player.
Two-way player.
Two-way player, runs the ball, can do anything. He's great in the secondary. He'll be a factor, but Mater Dei should win the football game. St. John Bosco at Serra of San Mateo. Tom Brady's not playing, but that is his old school. And Bosco should win, but again, on the road, you never know.
This Serra San Mateo team, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure on this one, they were the Open Division finalist that got thumped by Mater Dei like 35-0 at the state championship game. When I think a team like Folsom probably should have been up in that Open Division final. Long story short, I just don't see them having enough talent to hang with St. John Bosco. However, St. John Bosco is young, but they've already, see, if this was their first road trip, Randy, not to break it down too deep, if this was their first road trip, I'd be a little scared. But they've already been to Florida, and they beat Chaminade Madonna, so I don't think going up north is going to be that tall of a task.
Yeah, they're mature young players at St. John Bosco. Another good one is Jay Serra at Lincoln in San Diego. Lincoln's got a good program, so this is not a walk in the park for Jay Serra.
No, not at all, and I think kudos to these Trinity League teams trying to find games, going out of state, maybe traveling a little bit. This one, obviously, down in San Diego, and I just don't see Lincoln knocking them off, but weird things have happened. It is high school football.
Santa Margarita's the favorite in this next one, but Oaks Christian is solid, and this is going to be a test for Santa Margarita. Both teams 2-1.
I wrote a preview on this. Love my guy Charlie Collins, but he has a hard time winning the big game. They're 2-7 in marquee games when they play Division I Elk type teams. Their only 2 wins have come against Sierra Canyon.
How do you slow down Trent Mosley too, the great player?
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe Oaks Christian. They're just so talented on paper, and it's like they're always got these players, and then they have these marquee matchups. Like, here we go. This is when they're going to jump over that big, and then they deflate. So I just don't see it happening.
Mosley, of course, for Santa Margarita. All right, a game that we're going to have on air here tomorrow is Portolo, who is struggling at Beckman. Beckman's first home game. All 3 wins on the road. They'll be favored. On the call for us will be Bob Gibson and John Conte. It'll be a fun game to watch. Beckman and Irvine, good football program.
Yeah, hey, listen, when you're off to a 3-0 start, you're clearly playing confident. And when you're off to an 0-3 start, you're just trying to get a win in the worst way. So we'll see which one wins out tomorrow night. My guess is Beckman will get their 4th win this season.
And I second that. I think Beckman will probably win the football game.
Yeah.
In the city section, a couple of very fine games. Actually, there's 3 or 4 good ones in the city tomorrow night.
There are some good ones.
Kennedy at Granada Hills, they're rivals. They're right next to each other. Kennedy's in Granada Hills, but it's Kennedy at Granada Hills High School. Both teams 1-2, but playing a tough schedule, both of them.
Granada Hills, I talked with Bucky Brooks a couple times the last couple weeks. They have 6 running backs that they rotate through, and they don't have a problem telling you, hey, we're going to run this bad boy. They run the double wing and so on and so forth. I think Kennedy is working its way up to Division I playoff, mainstay. I just don't think that they're going to get the best of the Highlanders. Give me Granada Hills.
How about Garfield at San Pedro? This is a marquee game in the city. These are 2 contenders for the title.
I'm going to be there tomorrow night, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these 2 duke it out. Again, like you said, kind of classic programs duking it out is a great way to put it. However, I think San Pedro might have a little more just like beef up front. They've got that open division kind of aura to them, and I think they're going to be really tough to beat. They probably get the win at home.
What they both have in common, historically, they both had great offensive lines. That's why they have strong programs. But I think Lorenzo Hernandez's team is up against it. Garfield traveling to San Pedro. Corey Walsh is a very good coach. He's a young coach. He's an energetic guy for the Pirates. I think that's a tough matchup for Garfield. But you never know. They're good. The Bulldogs are good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And again, just looking at the schedules they've each played, they've played some tough teams. Some games have been close. It'll be a toss-up. I do think San Pedro will gut it out, though.
California now has a high school Hall of Fame. They hold it at the Rose Bowl. That's where the players go and get honored for being selected into this hall. Again, it's entire California. And listen to some of these names that are going to go in. They just named them. The ceremony will be in front of the UCLA Fresno State game later in the year. But Ron Kusha, who was a phenomenal player at Wilson High School in the 70s, led him to 3 championships and 43 straight games. But the big names are Jared Goff from up north. You know who he is, the Lions quarterback. Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers coach when he was in high school, Darryl LaMonica, who had an NFL great career, and Bruce Rawlinson on the coaching side. 20 players go in, 5 coaches, Rawlinson goes in.
Yeah, that's a great class. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh being in Los Angeles now is pretty cool that he's going to go into the Hall of Fame here. Really excited to potentially be there. It's very possible I might be, and would love to see all those guys get in.
Tarek, enjoy the game tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to a little city section action. I don't know when I'll be able to get to another one, but tomorrow I will give some love to the city section.
And we're going to give some love to you. We're going to let you go. We're done for the night. For Tarek, I'm Randy. It's a good night. We had a lot of fun. Thank you to Scott Faer of North Hollywood, the head coach, and his outstanding running back, Omar Muhammed. We'll talk to you next week right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.
The Wilson Mules.
The Mules, 43 straight. Ron they'll be Chatsworth and go to 44. They'll
okay,
break
so
the
that's
record.
the, yeah, then okay,
They'll break
they'll
the
probably do it.
Yeah, they're
44.